Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here from Pickdawgz.com, continuing to cook up this NFL, man. Welcome to my NFL jam session. Here I cook up every single game every week in the NFL, man, going from now all the way through the Super Bowl, man. So make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate y'all joining me on this journey. I originally was releasing this show on Thursdays to get the Thursday night football game in there. I'm now going to move this to Saturdays. And we're going to move a little quicker than we were moving earlier in the year as well. So buckle up. Let's make some money this weekend. Remember, my best bets, the bets that I'm most confident in, the bets that I personally have the most money on, those are my premium bets. Those are my best bets, and you can find those over at Pick Dawgz Premium. Link is in the description. All right, without further ado, let's make some money this week, and let's hop right into NFL Week 3. All right, first game up, we got the Indianapolis Colts out on the road facing the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are now favored by 8 points. Totals come down a bit to around 44, 43 and a half. Interesting game we got going on here, man. Both teams dealing with injuries. The Colts will be without their rookie quarterback and starting quarterback in Anthony Richardson. Suffered a concussion last week. He will be out. So we'll see the Gardner Minshew show. We've seen him in Game 1 and Game 2 as Richardson got banged up in both of those games. So Minshew, I would say, is probably one of the best backups in the league. But when it comes to now starting, I think he's probably one of the worst starters now in the National Football League. And I don't really like his chances going up against a legitimate defense in the Baltimore Ravens. Man, I think the Ravens control this football game. We saw the Ravens already beat up on the Colts division mate in the Houston Texans, a team that the Colts have already played as well. And I just don't see the pieces being put together here for the Colts. The Colts, you got to remember, they got a lot going on. No Jonathan Taylor in the building. Irsay was doing all that talking over the offseason. Now Anthony Richardson is hurt. New coaching staff in there. I'm not high on this Indianapolis Colts team. If I were betting this game, my money personally would be on the Baltimore Ravens laying the points at the crib, who we saw look really good last week, go into Cincinnati and win that game straight up. So I think the Ravens are poised to win this game. They should win it comfortably. I'm thinking a 10, 14-point win for the Ravens in this one. I would look at laying the points with them. All right, next game up, we got the Cleveland Browns at the crib, laying 3 on the Tennessee Titans. Interesting game, man. This was supposed to be the game of the running backs, Nick Chubb versus Derrick Henry, but as we know, Nick Chubb tore his MCL last week. He's done for the season, and I think that really hurts this Cleveland Browns team, a team that is run-oriented, play defense, run the football. I think they're in trouble without him. I don't trust Deshaun Watson to carry the load. He is not the same guy that he once was in Houston, although he is the National Football League's highest paid quarterback at $230 million guaranteed. That is crazy. He is not playing well right now. His number one receiver in Amari Cooper disappears in spots. That's why he's no longer on my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just not sold on this Cleveland Browns team. I know we saw them get a huge win in Week 1 in dominant fashion over the Bengals, but this is the Browns, man. What can go wrong will go wrong, and we saw that with Nick Chubb. It's unfortunate that he's gone. No more Nick Chubb anytime touchdown, but I think they're in trouble here in this game. I think that the Tennessee Titans come in this football game, run the football, control the clock, and this is right in their wheelhouse. The Tennessee Titans under Mike Vrabel, when they're a 3-point underdog or 3.5-point underdogs, man, they absolutely feast. One of the best records, ATS, in that situation. I'm taking the Titans here. I think they give themselves a legitimate chance to win this game late, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won it late. But I think having the points in our back pocket is a great place to be, man. Give me the Titans plus the points. Here it is. All right, in our next matchup of the day, we got the Denver Broncos out on the road facing the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are favored at home by 6, and I understand that, man. I do lean in the direction of the Dolphins, but I also like the over. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. The Dolphins, we've seen them put up a boatload of points on the Los Angeles Chargers in their first game of the year. And then we saw them put up some points on Bill Belichick last week in primetime, which is also, they usually don't win in Foxborough. That's something Miami doesn't do very often, but I think this team is really good, man. This team was really good last year. They were just derailed by injury, mainly at the quarterback position. But I want you guys to go look at the Miami Dolphins record when Tua Tagovailoa starts and finishes games, man. They're really, really good in the regular season. I know Jalen Waddle won't be playing in this game, but they still have the fastest wide receiver in the National Football League in Tyreek Hill, and I think he has a monster game and creates a lot of problems for a Broncos defense that has struggled mightily this year. The problem is not the offense for the Broncos. It's actually the defense, and I don't know if a lot of people would know that. This defense has been pretty bad. The Denver Broncos offense actually leads the National Football League in points per possession. That's crazy, right? But it's mainly because the defense for the Broncos is out there a lot, and the Broncos offense doesn't have a lot of possessions. But when they do, they've scored points. And that's why I said I think this is an over-type game. I see the Broncos scoring on a Miami defense that we have seen give up points. But, of course, I think Miami scores right back on this Denver defense. And the lean sidewise is Miami. Denver just invents ways to lose. I don't know how they lost that game to the Commanders last week. Many people thought Sean Payton would just be a plug and fix here in Denver. I don't think that that's the case. I'm leaning in the direction of the Dolphins, but I think this is a higher scoring game. I think the over is a great place to be here in this one as well. Next game up, we got the New England Patriots out on the road facing the New York Jets. I'm seeing New England favored by 2.5 and 3, so make sure you get the best number. Me personally, I want the 2.5 with the Patriots, and I'm going to lay it. I just can't see this team falling to 0-3. I just can't see it. I think this team is better than what their record indicates right now, and I just think this team has played arguably the toughest schedule to begin the year. They've played two top 5 teams, in my opinion, the defending NFC champions in the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins in their high-powered offense. So I'm not going to overreact too much to the Patriots being 0-2. I definitely think this is a bounce-back spot for them out on the road against a division opponent that, A, they've had their number for the past few seasons under Bill Belichick, and B, Bill Belichick always loves beating up on young quarterbacks in the NFL, man. It's just something he does. He always dials up a really good defensive game plan in these situations, and that's what I'm banking on, man. I don't expect Bill Belichick has been asleep any this week. I think he's been dialing up defensive schemes and pressures to get to Zach Wilson. I think the Patriots win this game on the road, avoid falling down 0-3. I'm going to take New England. I'm going to lay the points here in this. Next game up, we got the Buffalo Bills out on the road facing the Washington Commanders. The Commanders coming to this game 2-0. I am seeing this line down. Buffalo now laying 6, and I still think that's too many. I understand why the line has come down. I would grab the points with the Commanders, the home dog. The Commanders are 2-0. I know that they had a competitive first game against the Cardinals, but it's the NFL, man. All these guys are being paid millions to play football. It happens, but I really like what I saw from the Commanders last week. Down early to the Broncos on the road, and they come back and win that football game. That's really encouraging, man. I like what I saw offensively in that game from Eric Bieniemy and Sam Howell. I think some of those things can translate over. And I think the key to this game is the defensive line for the Commanders. I think they can create some of the same problems the Jets created for the Bills in Week 1. We know Josh Allen is turnover prone, especially when he's feeling the heat, and I think he'll feel the heat again here in this one. Chase Young back in the fold for the Commanders. We're getting them as a dog plus 6 points. Hey, man, I think it's a great place to be. And to be honest, I don't even think it's crazy to say the Commanders have a legitimate shot to win this game outright. I think they're underrated. I think the Bills are overrated, and I think that they struggle on the road like they struggled in Week 1. Give me the Commanders plus the points. In this. Next game up, we got the Atlanta Falcons out on the road facing the Detroit Lions. I'm seeing this spread down as well. I make these graphics earlier in the week, so that's why some of these lines are a little bit off, but it happens. The Lions are now favored by 3. I'm still seeing the total around 46 and a half, And I'm actually talking about a total in this one. I'm going over. I'm going over. I'm going over here in Lions Falcons. And the reason I am is because 9 of the last 10 games in Ford Field that the Lions have participated in have all gone over the total. It just is what it is, man. The Lions play much better offense at the crib. And when teams come into Ford Field, they like scoring points as well. And I think that's what we're looking at here. The Falcons' defense, I do think, is improved. But I could see the Lions clicking here in this one. Jamar Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, who is much improved, man. I think the Lions score some points, but on the other side, I think the Falcons do too. The Lions defense hasn't been anything to ride home about. Seattle came in there, put up 37 on them last week. Kansas City put up 21 on them at the crib without, their main weapon in Travis Kelce. I think the Falcons can score some points here. We've seen them score a healthy dose of points already this year. I think they run the football, create some problems for the Lions. I think the best play in this game, rather than mess with a side, is just to continue to roll the Ford Field trend, the over. I'm taking the over. Falcons, Lions. Here it is. Next game up, we got the New Orleans Saints out on the road facing the Green Bay Packers. Line has come down. Packers only laying 1 at the crib in Lambeau, home opener. And I can't fade them in this situation. I am taking the Packers. Go, Pack, go. The Saints just haven't been that impressive to me, man. They are 2-0. Beat their division rival last week in the Carolina Panthers. That game, nothing was impressive to me there. And then the game before that, they beat the Tennessee Titans at the crib in a game that went exactly how you think it went. I just think Green Bay competes here in this game at the crib, man. I just don't see them losing. And are the Saints better than they were last year? Yes. Am I ready to start taking them to beat good quality teams straight up out on the road? I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet. I think Green Bay gets this one done at the crib, man. I think LaFleur and Jordan Love dial up a good offensive game plan. Aaron Jones and Christian Watson could be back in the fold this week as well. I'm taking the Packers. Go, Pack, go. At Lambeau Field in their home opener. All right, in our next matchup, man, we got the Houston Texans out on the road facing their divisional rival, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This line has come down as well. I'm now seeing Jacksonville like 7.5-point favorites, and I'm taking Jacksonville here in this one. I understand why the line has come down and why some people may think that the Texans could upset here in this game. The Texans did beat the Jags straight up on the money line in game 1 they played last year. But I don't see that being the case this year, man. I think the Jags beat up on their division this year. We've already seen them end one of the division streaks, beating the Colts in Indianapolis earlier this year. And at home here in this one, I think they beat up on the Texans. I think the Texans could be in the running for the worst team in the National Football League. I've said it's the Cardinals all year. I think the Cardinals are about right here, and the Texans may be like right here. Like it's that close. I think the Jags win this game comfortably. I'm going to take them to beat up on their divisional opponent at the crib. Come on, T-Law. Let's go ahead and beat up on the Houston Texans. Here it is. In our next matchup of the day, man, we got a weird one in my opinion. We got the Chargers out on the road facing the Vikings. The reason I say it's weird, man, is because both of these teams are 0-2. And both of these teams were playoff teams last year. So that means somebody's probably going to be 0-3 after this game. And that's crazy because at the beginning of the year, I thought both of these teams had legitimate chances to win their division. Minnesota in a weak division with a lot of turnover. Rodgers now out of there. They won it last year. I thought they were poised to do it again. The Chargers, many people thought would take a step forward this year with Justin Herbert, but both teams struggling. And I think most of these two teams' struggles have been defensively, and I think that's a problem with the two quarterbacks that are starting here in this football game. Two guys that love to stat pad, two guys that love to get their yardage, two guys that can light the scoreboard up with points. And I think the best place to be in this football game is just to go ahead and take the over. I'm not even going to overcomplicate trying to take a side. I just think points are going to be coming rapidly. So I'm taking the over here between the Chargers and the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, we know he loves to push the ball to his receivers. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Madison now in that backfield. I think they can score some points on a Chargers defense we've already seen struggle thus far this year, and so has been the case for the Minnesota Vikings defense. I think Herbert Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Quinn Johnson, and crew can score right back. I think we're looking at a higher scoring game, back and forth, fun game early in the day. We'll take the over. Vikings, Chargers. Next game up, we got the Carolina Panthers out on the road facing the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle opened up around 6-point favorites, but I'm now seeing it down to 4.5. And I am going to lay that 4.5 with the Seahawks here in this one. Andy Dalton is getting the start for the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young dealing with an injury. And we just don't get a lot of chances to fade Andy Dalton, man. He was a solid quarterback early in his career for the Bengals, but since then, he has not been good. He was with the Cowboys. He was with the Saints. Now he's with the Panthers. He's been terrible in all 3 stops. He's going to throw an interception in this game. He's going to be pretty bad. And the Panthers, they don't have legitimate weapons on the outside anymore. DJ Moore gone. Their best weapon is old man Thielen. I don't think it's going to look pretty for the Panthers this week. I think the Seahawks should win this game by touchdown plus. We saw their offense really get the clicking last week in Detroit, and I think they can carry some of those things over into this one now at home, having a Panthers team, a depleted Panthers team come in. I'm sorry, I got to fade Andy Dalton. I got to fade the Panthers. Give me Geno. Give me the Seahawks. I'll lay the points with them. Here it is. Next game up, man. Short, sweet, simple. Taking the Cowboys. I'm laying the points, man. Laying double digits in the NFL is usually not the best place to be, but here in this one, man, it's hard for me not to want to. I've said to y'all a lot here on this program, I think the Cardinals are the worst team in the National Football League, and I think the Cowboys are top 3, and I don't think they're 3 or 2. I think they're the best team, so I think we got the best team in the National Football League versus the worst team in the National Football League. I'm sorry, I'm laying the 13 points, man. I think this Dallas Cowboys defense is the truth. Losing Trayvon Diggs, my favorite player, will hurt, but it's next man up. Deron Bland has had an amazing season last year. He's already off to a solid start this year. I think he can come in and play well. We got Gilly Locke on the other side, man, so not too worried about that position. Bummed out not to have the best ball hawk in the league in Trayvon Diggs, my favorite player on that defense, but they still have the best player defensively in the National Football League in 11 from heaven, Micah Parsons. I think he's going to have Joshua Dobbs wishing that he was not the starter for the Arizona Cardinals in this one, man. I just think it's going to be a long day in the office for Joshua Dobbs. I think this Cowboys defense is on that level. I think offensively for the Cowboys, they still have left a few things to be desired, but against the worst team in the National Football League, I expect them to move the football. I understand why the line is now at 13 points, and I usually don't love laying huge numbers, but here in this one, I'm laying the points with the better team, the best team in the National Football League, in my opinion, the Dallas Cowboys, man. I'm going to lay the points here in this one. Next game up, we got the Chicago Bears out on the road facing the Kansas City Chiefs. We just had the other double-digit spread last game, and I told you I usually hate laying double digits, man, but I'm actually going to take both double-digit favorites this week. I'm going to lay the points with the Chiefs, man. The Bears had a really long week, man. The facility got broke into, equipment got stole, assistant coaches getting fired, and it's just been a really long week for Chicago. And in the midst of all that, they suck. They suck. I'm here to tell you right now, the Bears are not a good football team. They're not good. Justin Fields is not a franchise quarterback. He sucks. He's been bad. He only has like 5 wins in his career as a starting NFL quarterback. Is it the coaching staff? Maybe. Is it the franchise as a whole? Maybe. But still, taking the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm laying the points with them in Arrowhead. Would not be surprised if they were up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. And you're sitting there shaking your head like, why did I think the Bears were finna go compete in Arrowhead? I don't know why you would think that. I don't think that. I'm laying the points here. Kansas City Chiefs at the crib. Here it is. Sunday Night Football, man. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers out on the road facing the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a tough game, in my opinion. Here's why. I've won money on the Steelers and lost money on the Steelers thus far this year. I've won money on the Raiders, and I've lost money on the Raiders thus far this year. There's only been 2 games. We saw the Steelers come out this year, week 1, lay an absolute egg against San Fran. But last week on primetime, defensively, they looked really, really good. The Raiders, week 1, they looked really good. They got a dub, but last week on the road in Buffalo, man, they did not look good. So it's just hard for me to say which version of these two teams we're going to see here on this Sunday night. I would have a small lean in the direction of the Las Vegas Raiders, but I think the best play in this game is the under. I'm going to take the under between the Raiders and the Steelers. I think defense is coming to play here in prime time. Like I said, we saw the Steelers defense really step up last week. I think that's where they won the game. They had Deshaun Watson really looking pedestrian last weekend. I think TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick get after Garoppolo and company here in this one. But on the other side, man, the Pittsburgh offense hasn't really showed me anything thus far this year, and I think they're in trouble with Max Crosby and that defensive line coming after them as well. I think defenses rule the day here on Sunday Night Football. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Give me the under between the Steelers and the Raiders. Here it is. Next game up, man, we got the battle of the two undefeateds. We got the Eagles on the road, laying 5 on the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. In the battle of the undefeateds, I'm going to take the team getting the points, the team that's at home, and the team that I think is underrated, man. Give me the Bucks plus the points in this one. I think they have a legitimate shot to win it outright. Baker is playing really well right now. He's finding guys like Mike Evans, who's had a few huge games already to begin this season. I think the defense for this Buccaneers team is underrated, and I think a lot of people, including me, thought that this team was just going to take a few steps back, losing the GOAT, the best player to ever touch a football in Tom Brady. But that hasn't been the case thus far this year. The defense has been playing really well, and Baker has this offense playing well. The Eagles, I still have some concerns about their secondary, and I think that's a problem with Baker and Mike Evans at home here in this one. The Eagles, I still think, are one of the 3 best teams in the National Football League. And I do think if I had to say who wins this game, I would say the Philadelphia Eagles, but I would not feel comfortable laying 5 points on the road on an underrated Tampa Bay Bucks team. This Eagles team, man, they have some issues. Lost both coordinators from last year. Their defensive secondary doesn't look quite the same. And I worry about Jalen Hurts, staying healthy, because he's running the football quite a bit thus far this year. I say all this to say I think the best place to be is grabbing the points with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think, if anything, the best case scenario for the Philadelphia Eagles is 24-20. That's how I see this game. Or I see the Bucks having a legitimate chance to win it outright. Give me Tampa plus the points at home in the battle of the undefeateds here on Monday night. And our last game of the week, man, we got the Los Angeles Rams out on the road facing the Cincinnati Bengals. It's looking like Joe Shiesty will not play in this game. Look like it's going to be Jake Browning. And if it's Jake Browning, I'm definitely taking the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm going to take them straight up on the money line. This sucks. At the beginning of the year, I told y'all my Super Bowl was the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. But if Burrow doesn't play, I think they lose this football game, and I think they fall to 0-3. And in this new era, with the extra game and the playoff team, there's only been one team to go 0-2 and make the postseason. It was the Bengals last year. Falling down 0-3, I think, is just too much to ask. I hope they do it, so my Super Bowl prediction is still alive, man, but it's hard to want to take them here with Jake Browning. Matthew Stafford and company have played really well this season. Puka Nacua really has had a great season thus far this season. I think the Rams compete here. If it's Joe Burrow, I'll update y'all on Monday night. But for right now, currently, looks like it's going to be Jake Browning. And I want no parts of Jake Browning, man. Give me Stafford. Give me the Rams. Money line here in our last and final game of the week. And that's going to conclude this episode of my NFL Jam Session Week 3 edition. I appreciate every last one of y'all watching this video, man. Do me a favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And remember, my best bets are my premium plays. Those are the plays that I have the most money on. Those are the plays that I feel the most comfortable with. You can find those over at Pickdawgz Premium. There's a link in the description, man. If you're rocking with me, rock with me. Let's continue to smash the books this weekend. Let's continue to stack some units, man. It's been your guy, Jay Briggs. See y'all when I see y'all, man. And I'm out of here.